Hi guys, Joe here from Competitive Horsemanship. Today's video is going to be on saddling a horse. How to saddle a horse. There's two different types of videos that I could make for how to saddle a horse. That would be saddling a colt, or I'm going to give you 10 or so tips on just how to saddle a competitive horse, a trail riding horse. Just some real cool tips on how to swing your saddle up there, how to hang your girths, which side to throw it on from, etc., etc. So for the colt start, I'm going to give you a couple concepts that your horse needs to have before you want to saddle your colts. So if you follow along with my competitive horsemanship, you're going to find that there's always a prelim to the actual event. So how can I prepare my horse for saddling before I actually saddle him? The two prerequisites that you must have is you must have your horse coming to pressure. What does that mean? That means that your horse, when you go to put the saddle on, he might want to run backwards, pull on you, i.e. do not tie a colt to the fence to saddle him. That is a that's a no-no, right? So if you can't tie him to the fence and he's wanting to back up or shy away when you want to swing the saddle up there, that's when you need to have him coming to pressure, right? The second thing is that you need to have him desensitized to swinging things. And it's not only for saddling, but it's for swinging arms. Cows are over there. Swinging legs, swinging your leg up over them when you go to get on. Swinging halter shanks, swinging team ropes, swinging tie-down ropes. So having the swinging concept down pat with your horse is a really beneficial concept to have, no matter whether you're saddling or going to be in a competitive event. So here too, I want to explain, sorry my back's got to be to you, but I'm my own camera person today. So you see how in the actual swinging of the halter shank, how I go side to side. So if he goes and wants to go that way, then I'm going to switch and I'm going to go to this side. Now another concept to desensitizing your horse to things is stay in rhythm. Rhythm is a big concept in horsemanship. Horses will teach people to stop the rhythm. You only stop the rhythm when you see some try out of them. Now that doesn't mean that you stay on top of them. Like this would be my goal, to get this shank swinging up here, but if it isn't working up there, swing it out here. Swing it back here. That's approach and retreat in my program. So if it isn't working where you want it to work, rather than quit the motion, which horses are great at teaching people to quit doing what they're doing, so they actually are controlling the exercise. You don't want that. You want to control the exercise, but how you can stay on top of it is approach and retreat. So let's say that I had an ear shy horse and he was ear shy, so then I would pull my hand back here and rub back here where he liked it. See, now I'm getting that face, right? And then I would try and get closer to where the problem is up here, approach and retreat. Okay, so that concept is a third concept in there. So we have the concept of coming to pressure, the concept of getting them used to swinging things, and the concept of approach and retreat, right? So I've retreated, it's good there, stay in rhythm, okay, and now I can swing it up here like this. See, I'm going to swing my saddle up from this side. So, see see how this is going to work, and then see how she goes away. That's when I need to have the come-to pressure working for me. See, I'm going to swing that blanket up there someday, just like that. Right? See this motion that I'm going to use here in the colt start? Look her right in the eye. See this ankle just pivots here. Just like if I was going to grab this, now I just pivot like this on a colt, right? Okay? Here's another tip for anybody that saddles a horse. See how I'm carrying this saddle with the sheepskin towards me? I can go a long ways walking around carrying the saddle like this. But if the saddle's like this, how most people carry it, it's kind of, you're stepping on the cinches, your foot gets in the stirrup, blah, blah, blah. So this is the correct way to where I can, and you see how I've got it grabbed back here on the cantle, and you can kind of support it up here like this and walk around. Now, another little tip I'm going to give you, if you're packing your saddle from the rodeo trailer back to the barn, did you ever wonder why they cut these holes in there? Right? You can walk a long ways and have these stirrups and cinches out of your way carrying your saddle like this. But look when I turn it around and I carry it like this. Not so convenient. Again, I'm stepping on the cinches and the stirrups, etc., etc. Okay, so the other thing is that I want to get across is saddling from the left side, or the right side, I'm sorry. We do so much, now it's not just because of doing so much on this side of your horse. The number one reason that I saddle from the right side, is that I'm right here to let my girts down, all right? So I'm here, stick your cinch under there, and if you rode horses very much, you can tell that when you push this cinch under here, you can kind of tell whether it's going to be too long or too short. You're right on this side to make the adjustment, okay? So that makes sense. Here's another thing here that I want to do is I'm on this side, I push the blanket up underneath the pommels here, because I don't want the blanket pushing down on my horse's withers and having pressure there. So I'm pushing that up in the hollow here. I don't have a back cinch on this horse. I was going to have it for the video, but I didn't, because I want to show you something in a second here on how to put your saddle away. But before we go there, let's do a recap here on the saddling. So you see too, because I'm going to get to this, this is how you take a saddle off. You grab it from the back of the cantle here, have the sheepskin, and look where I'm at. I'm right back here. So you could be right here, swing that up with that hand, look your horse right in the eye. It's just a swivel. I'm getting him used to the swinging motion that I've already taught him before I ever got to the saddling. Cinches in the right spot. Now, a couple tips here on cinching your horse up. So, and I'm on this side here to set that up right. See if I can stay in the camera. Again, I'm my own camera person. So here's the thing too about saddling colts, is that use the back of your hand and go along the rib cage here. Now you see the angle that I'm on here too? Like if this was a colt, I'm on this angle so I don't get kicked, right? to where you're like this and your horse happens to spook, run by you, kicks you and hurts you. So back of your hand for a colt saddling. Now all you competitors, hang in there. I've got some cool tips for you on how to hang your cinches and etc, etc. Back of your hand for colt starters. Grab your cinch. Now here we are with the Latigo. Now here's the thing about the Latigo for saddling colts. And you see how also, another tip, my shank is just hanging over top of my arm like that to where I can just reach down and grab it if I have to, if I get in a bind. So I remember seeing Ray Hunt do this. You should go around here twice. So this would be through, we won't call that. Now we've completed one lap. Actually, we would call it 3 times on a colt. And you don't suck it up as you're going along. You suck it up slowly all at once. So you would go a 3rd time, pretend I went around a 3rd time on a colt, and then I would pull it. See how I'm kind of pushing on him, testing. And you always want to saddle your colt up to where if something happened, the reason that you've got it 3 times and he was to jump, that you could give it a big heave-ho if he was to jump, because you don't want your saddle to fall off. You do not want it to fall off in the colt start. That's why you go around 3 times, is that if he was to jump, you could pull it tight and it would stick and maybe keep from the saddle from falling off. I've never had it happen to me because I really get my horses desensitized before I ever get to this point. But there you go. Stick the little knobby thing in there and put that Latigo up there in the keeper. Alright, so there is the saddling. There's tips there for saddling a colt and your competitive horse, your trail riding horse. Alright, that being said, unsaddling a horse. Alright, so always, and I'm sure you guys know, but I'm going to tell you again because there's always things that your dad tells you or some teacher tells you that really sticks with you. So don't ever forget, the first thing off is your breast collar. I don't have a breast collar on this horse. He doesn't need one, but you would take your breast collar off, take this end, hand it, bring it across the top of the saddle, take that part that did up there and the bottom part there, do it together through the stirrup, undo your back cinch first. Breast collar, or you could probably, just a rule of thumb, just so you would remember it, undo your back cinch first and then do your breast collar. Okay? Now that you've got the, and don't, always make sure too, and the reason I'm stalling here a little bit, is when you undo your back cinch, I've always seen guys that'll just give it one of these things like this and it catches. So you know how the roller rolls up there and then the cinch, it'll catch. And before you know it, they're already, because they're quick or at doing things, they get this one kind of loosened off. That one caught. Their horse does, for whatever reason, jumps. And that, so make sure that you take the time and undo that and make sure it's off, is my rule of thumb. Make sure it's undone, all right? So now we're undoing this here, Latigo. Now, how to do a Latigo up. See if I can get it a little better in camera here. All right, so take the middle of your Latigo here and you push it up through. This is a barrel saddle and that's why I don't do it. These barrel saddles are not real horseman type saddles, but I love riding them and I train barrel horses. But see how I took the middle of it, or about a foot away, put my thumb there, then about another foot of the way, shove that through, then pull the slack up here so I have an even lattigo situation here. Now, this end goes from there all the way around underneath the original wraps and comes through there like that. Why? Because when I'm undoing my saddle, when I'm over here like this, see if I'm in the camera here, I'm going to be in the camera here, but see how you just go like this, and I reach underneath with my hand, grab the cinch, shove it through, and then that all comes down together, rather than kind of messy to where if this was hanging down, say you pulled it out already hanging down, then you get that, now you gotta roll that there, and you gotta do all that. So especially for when you're saddling a colt, like when this really goes clickety-boo, it makes a huge difference on whether or not your horse is like, what's he doing back there, right? So if everything can go smooth like this, take that out, goes through the keeper there, pull it down around 3 times, and remember I only went twice there because this is a barrel seasoned horse, blah blah blah, and it's not going to matter on this horse. But okay, so now to the other side, which is a real cool thing on putting your unsaddling your horse. All right, so here's a little tip too. I want you guys to see how I do this. If you want respect from your horse, you should respect your horse. So have some manners around your horse. Back of your hand, underneath your horse's jaw, foot stays still, flip his head around. I didn't even move my foot, and here I am here to unsaddle. So, the unsaddling thing that I really like, I was taught by my mentor, Pat Pirelli. So if this was your back cinch, rather than turn this around, how people do, and they go up here, and they get this leather thing, which on a lot of saddles is up here, they get it to where the way that you originally were taught to do this is you flip this around, and then this comes through here like this, and it goes up here like this, and it gets this leather thing turned the wrong way, and look at how your cinches are all twisted. I don't even know how to do it. I'm doing a poor job, but okay, so you would take your buckle here, and it goes through this way. Pretend there's a buckle on here, and it goes up and then down. So number one, your cinches are drying with the correct curl in them rather than a twist. And then, just like this, see, this is how this would go on here. See how that went? Instead of, most people do this thing, they do this thing here. They come from underneath and they put that in. And see how it turns that leather thing there? When that leather thing is up here, the keeper, and I'm riding colts or whatever, and because it's turned this way, my hands are getting, that leather thing gets in the way of the reins in my hands, and I hate it, right? So, and then see the twist that I've got in there? So let's do it the correct way. Like, I'm doing a poor job of, but see how you just take this, turn it over, this goes from the top down, put the keeper in there, and see how it's a nice kept girts, the leather keeper going this way, right? Cool tip there, I'll never forget it. Unsaddling your horse, especially a colt, is, again, you'd grab the back of the cantle here, and as I'm swiveling and getting away from his back legs, there I am right there with the back of my hand on the cantle, and I always use this fender here to get a hold of, and just for shits and giggles, I got to ride this horse yet. So again, a swivel and a swivel, and I want that saddle to go on like old Ray Hunt said, like you put your cap on. I want it to go on solid, not unsolid, like you're scattered. I want this to go on like a, all right? See if I can do a cool job of this. Plop, swivel, plop, okay? It goes on just like it fits right when it hits. Okay, guys? So there's your saddling for whether it be a colt or even your rodeo horses, that you saddle them from the right side. Here's the wrong way that I see people saddling a horse. Number one is, the cardinal sin would be like this on a colt. Here I go. Look at my horse. You know, he like, that ain't gonna work, and I can't go very far carrying my saddle like that. And I'm on his right side doing this. Most people saddle from the other side, and then they got to walk around, let their girths down. They go back and forth 2 or 3 times to see if the girths are going to line up, if they're long enough, blah, blah, blah. So that's the wrong way to do it. Anyways, guys, that's Joe Butterfield with Competitive Horsemanship. Lots more videos to come. Any likes, comments, click the buttons below. Leave any suggestions if you'd like for any new videos. Other than that, I'm on Instagram at Competitive Horsemanship, Facebook Competitive Horsemanship, and my favorite channel, YouTube. There's tons of videos on there, Competitive Horsemanship. Have a great day, guys.